Hi, I'm Tim Richards. This is the third video clip I've put together relating to Volume 1 of my book Exploring Jazz Piano. This clip deals with two contrasting styles of improvisation: horizontal improvisation and vertical improvisation. I'm going to demonstrate horizontal improvisation using a tune called Coinstance Calypso, page 28 in the book. Now this just uses three chords: D, the tonic or the 1 chord, G, the 4 chord, A or A7, the 5 chord, and then back to 1. Now because those chords are all in the same key, 1, 4 and 5, we can play a D major scale right across them. That's why this is called horizontal improvisation, because we're going across the chords without making any changes to fit them. And another way of describing that is to say that you're playing in the key. Here we go. Later on in the tune, if you listen to the solo section that I play on the audio track, you'll hear that I changed to vertical improvisation. Now, the deal there is that you change what you do to fit the chords. So you might play a D arpeggio on the D chord and go to a G arpeggio on the G chord. And so everything now has to follow the chord symbols. In the book, there's a bass line. So we can practice all of those things with the bass, and if you play along with the CD, there's no bass player on this track, so you could either play bass or chords, it's up to you. There'll just be drums on the backing track. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're now going to look at vertical and horizontal improvisation in a minor key over a tune called Montuno for Monty, page 73. So it's very similar to Coinstance Calypso. It uses 1, 4 and 5 chords, but they're now D minor, G minor, the 4 chord, and A or A7, the 5 chord. It's an 8-bar sequence, goes like this. Here it is with the bass line given in the book. So it's got a straight 8 feel. If you find that left hand difficult, you could always just play chords. So we're going to follow those chords in building our improvisation. So if you want to make it vertical, in other words, if you want to really spell out the chords as they come by, I suggest using the first 5 notes of the D minor scale, like a 5-finger position for D minor. Move it up to G minor, first 5 notes of the G minor scale. You could call that a Dorian scale if you want. And over A7, the first 5 notes of an A major or A Mixolydian scale. They'll both be the same because we haven't got the 7th. Putting this into practice with the bass line given. chord change in the right hand reflect the left hand bass. You can also get a completely different sound if you decide you might want to improvise horizontally. In other words, find a set of notes which works across all three chords. One of the easiest solutions is to play a minor pentatonic. Most of those notes will sound fine with all the chords, with the exception perhaps of the D over the A7 chord or the A chord. Not a great choice. So try and use your ears, don't just play random notes. I'll play a horizontal improvisation, D minor pentatonic all the way through with some chords in the left hand. Also do the bass line. Another slightly more advanced choice for horizontal improvisation, once again playing in the key of D minor, would be to use a D minor harmonic scale. With a B flat, the flat 6, and a C sharp, the major 7th. So the B flat fits G minor really well, and the C sharp fits A7 or A really well. So if you can plan it so that you bring those notes out in those bars, you're improvising using a single scale but still tapping into the chords a bit. In the first clip we played over 1 and 4 triads using a single scale. Now we're going to do the same thing over major 7th chords, 4-note chords, G major 7 and C major 7 in second inversion to keep it next door to the first chord. And because we're alternating 1 and 4, we can play a G major scale across them. Notice I'm looping it. The track Major 7th Workout goes through this important chord change in 6 different keys, so it'll go down round the cycle in down a tone. It's a great way to accompany your scales in the right hand rather than just practicing scales. Put some chords in the left hand. And then it goes to E flat and A flat. D flat and G flat, B and E, A and D, and so on. Finally, we're going to look at situations where you're more or less forced to play vertically. So the tune down the line on page 104 uses 4 dominant 7th chords. C7, B flat 7, A flat 7, and G7. So I'm playing the root to give me a bass note and the top 3 notes of the chord on the second beat. Now you'd be hard pressed to find a scale that would go horizontally across all of those, because there are so many notes outside the key of C. So that's a clear signal that you possibly would be best to stick to arpeggios. So we could do this with the play along with the drums. There's no bass on this track because you're doing a strong bass line already. We could try it with the drums. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, that's it for now. Horizontal and vertical improvisation are just two approaches, contrasting approaches. Sometimes you can apply them both in the same tune. Most of the great masters of jazz improvisation were adept at both styles. So have fun.